Hello, I'm Gaynell Hirsch, Lighthouse Healers Network.com, and I'm here with Nicole Nitschke. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Ganelle.
I'm very excited to be talking to you today about your work and your background. So I'm just going to jump right into it and ask you, what types of work do you do? What types of services do you offer?
Okay. Well, first, I'd like to say thank you so much for having me. And I have categorized my services into four main groups. First one is intuitive readings. The second one is spiritual counseling. Third one is hypnotherapy. And then the last one is meditation and mindfulness training. So I'll talk a little bit about all four of those. So the intuitive reading is I have that two different kinds that I offer. One is what I call an after death communication reading, and that's where I use my mediumship skills and I connect to a client's loved ones to relay messages. The second um, intuitive reading session that I do, I call a general life guidance reading, and that's where I connect to spirit guides and assist with relaying messages and giving guidance. And some of those topics of concern that a client might have would be life purpose, job and career, health, home. So those are just a couple of examples. And then moving into the spiritual counseling category. And that's more like a traditional counseling session. And so there's a lot more back and forth discussion between me and the client. And we talk about spiritual connection, sharpening the intuition, um, meditation and mindfulness tend to be very popular conversations that get infused into spiritual counseling. And mindfulness actually is a part of cognitive behavioral therapy. And so I'm a licensed professional counselor. So I'm trained in cognitive behavioral therapy. So that gets infused into spiritual counseling along with positive psychology. And then the third category is hypnosis. And that's where a client has a very specific goal in mind, typically a behavioral change. For example, they might want to quit smoking or overeating. They might want to address a fear or phobia, get rid of anxiety and worry. And so hypnosis is used as a specific tool to help achieve that change. And
Mhm.
then the meditation and mindfulness training, where a person is being taught, they're a student for that category. And so it is more instruction based, and I use a step-by-step method to teach people how to create their own meditation practice and learn how to use mindfulness in their daily lives. And that helps to enhance focus and concentration.
Okay, wow, that's a lot. Very important work, really. And I know your work is helpful on so many levels. Would you mind kind of explaining how it is that your work helps people?
Sure. So for the readings, my intention for a client to get out of that is to um, get some closure. So, especially with the after death communication reading, obviously they're dealing with loss and with grief. And so, afterwards, a client would feel they would have closure, bringing unfinished business to a close, and really feeling like they've connected to their loved one who is across the veil, who has passed away. So I really would give evidence, specific nuggets of information that I couldn't possibly know about my client to help validate that we are indeed connecting to a loved one. And other ways that a reading might help is just to really give a deeper understanding as to why a situation may have unfolded the way it did, why things ended the way they did, guidance as to steps to move forward in the future. And then, as far as the counseling, spiritual counseling, and hypnosis, and meditation and mindfulness training, those are unique approaches, but they tend to have very similar outcomes for people. They will often feel relieved and lighter. They will feel better about themselves. They will feel like they're better communicators. So those are just some things that will help someone to um, how they'll end up feeling after they've had sessions with me.
That's beautiful. Some beautiful results. Can I ask you what led you to this profession and what influenced you to this path?
So there is professional and personal experiences that I've had that has brought me to be the type of healer that I am today. And so, starting out personally, when I was in high school, I had a very positive experience in mental health counseling. So I had a counselor, and I was in counseling for about 9 months doing individual and family therapy. And that really changed my life and really helped me to feel better about myself. So that once I was done with that treatment, I had like an epiphany that I was supposed to be a counselor. I knew that that was a part of my life path. It was just a calling that I had. And so I stayed the course as far as going to college, and I got my master's degree in counseling. And before I became an official licensed professional counselor, I spent a year after graduate school out in Tempe, Arizona, attending Southwest Institute of Healing Hearts. And that school trained me in intuitive studies, mind body psychology. And that's where I also got trained in being a hypnotherapist. And so once I completed those courses, and that was about a year long experience, I became a licensed professional counselor and started my career as a professional helper, working in a hospital setting, in a community health agency setting, doing traditional counseling. And I did that for several years, and I harnessed that experience to create my own private counseling and hypnotherapy practice. And so I started to do that. And several years into private practice, my brother passed away. And we were very close. He was 3 years older than me. And shortly after he passed, I started to have these experiences where it felt like he was trying to contact me or that he was present. And I had these very vivid dreams of him. And it felt like he was sending me messages, like things would be moved. And I'm a very organized person. I would know where I would set something, and it would be in a completely different location of my house. And I just could smell him and sense him. And so that led me to really wanting to know. I needed to know what happens to us after we die. I really needed to know where my brother was. And so I had a appointment with a medium, and she did an after death communication reading with me. And the evidence that she gave me that she was talking to my brother convinced me that we can connect to our loved ones who have passed away and are across the veil. And my intuition that there is an afterlife and there is life after death, all of those beliefs were confirmed through that after death communication session. And that really put a flame under me as far as wanting to learn more and more about the afterlife and how to relieve grief by continuing relationships with our loved ones who are across the veil. So I started in my private practice, my counseling and hypnotherapy practice. I really started to focus on counseling people who are grieving. So I really focused on life after loss and relieving grief for people, whether it was a death or a divorce or moving away. So I just really wanted to help people to deal with that process of grief and loss. But I really found that what I really enjoyed and what I really excelled at was having conversations where I could help people connect with their spirituality just by using traditional talk therapy or hypnosis. But that really seemed to help people to heal even more profoundly. But some clients still weren't as radically transformed as I was after my first after death communication reading with a medium. So I continued studying about that. And about a decade of studying and learning, it led me to actually being formally trained to be a medium and being able to really connect to people across the veil. But all along, I was able to randomly, but not really at will, connect to loved ones, but I wasn't able to harness it and control it. So sometimes it felt like advice wasn't coming from me, but rather through me, like I was channeling a higher perspective or an infinite intelligence. And my clients noticed that things had kind of shifted in my voice. So it was kind of clear that that's what I was doing for certain clients. But after being formally trained, I can do it at will now. And so I can make it happen just because my client and I want it to. So that has led to me adding spiritual readings and intuitive readings and harnessing my empathic qualities that have been cultivated throughout nearly 20 years of private practice, and just offering it in the past several years as a service. So that kind of really is how I came to offering these 4 different services.
Okay. Wow. I love that you took your own personal experience where you saw how helpful counseling can be and that you turned it into your calling and you're able to help so many people. That's really, really nice.
Yes,
Um,
yes. I think I've been blessed or lucky that way, that my own personal experiences led me to my professional path. So, yes.
yes, yes, that is beautiful. Well, I really want to thank you, Nicole, for talking to us today and telling us more about your work. I really admire what you're doing. And I just want to say before we close that for anyone who's listening, you can learn more about Nicole's work. You can even engage her to help you if you'd like to have some of these benefits for yourself at lighthousehealersnetwork.com. Thank you.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure meeting with you today. I've enjoyed it.
It's been nice talking to you, Nicole. Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye bye.